Assalamu alaikum. I am Mohammed Ghaly, Professor of Islam and Biomedical Ethics in the Research Center for Islamic Legislation and Ethics at Hamad bin Khalifa University in Qatar. My main work is on the interplay and the intersection between the bioethical questions that have been arising since a while now and our Islamic moral tradition. The bioethical issues related to end of life is more or less almost half of the scope of work of bioethicists. We usually divide the field of bioethics into two big blocks, one related to the beginning of human life and one related to the end of human life, and there are some issues in between. So end of life raises a number of perplexing and complex ethical questions in the field of bioethics, and they are also quite important for our Islamic moral tradition. The Quran speaks about death, about dying, approaching dying, the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we have a very rich Islamic scholarship on issues related to this. But of course, from a bioethical perspective, we have new versions of old questions, and we have some new questions. So, for instance, the modern biomedical revolution changed the way we look at death. Instead of a sudden moment that the person experiences and then the person dies, we're speaking about a dying process, and usually prolonged dying process, and often in the hospital under medical care. So the longer the dying process becomes, the more the decisions we can make about what type of medical treatment we can give, or we cannot give, or we should give, or we shouldn't give. How to make sure that the values of the patient and the patient's family are respected, cherished during these difficult moments that can take longer than before. How far we can go, how far medicine can go. For instance, should we keep the life support machines, the life-sustaining treatments as much as we can, or should we draw a line and stop at a specific moment, and so on? These are all big questions that have been addressed in the book. The main argument of the book is that the biomedical revolution has changed the way we have always thought about death. As I mentioned, that the death now is not only a moment, is a process, and this process is getting longer and longer. The scope of the intervention of the humans into this process shortly before it and after it, we can interfere into this in a way that was almost inconceivable before. And the second thing is that the Islamic moral tradition and Islamic scholarship is rich enough to have a say about these questions. So we have a rich moral tradition in the different disciplines, scholarly disciplines of Islam, like Islamic jurisprudence, fiqh, like Islamic theology, aqidah, like Islamic philosophy, Sufism, and so on. By consulting the scholarship available in these scholarly disciplines, we can answer these questions from an Islamic perspective, and this is what we have been trying to do in the book. The book is divided into three big parts. The first part is methodological issues. So how should we approach these questions? Where should we go in the vast and wide Islamic scholarship in order to answer these questions? Which books should we consult, and which chapters within these books should we consult? The second part was about end-of-life care in Islamic studies. So we check the different scholarly disciplines in order to find discussions relevant to the modern questions that we have today. And the third part, which is the bigger part of the book, is end-of-life care as a bioethical issue. So we discuss the modern bioethical issues related to end-of-life care and how to respond to them from an Islamic perspective. As an extension of my work on the interplay or intersection between medicine or science in general and the Islamic ethics, I'm now very much interested in studying and researching the questions raised by the artificial intelligence and its applications, of course, more particularly in the healthcare. For maybe the first time in our human history, we have inanimate objects, jamadat, tools that can think. We had other creatures that can be faster than us, like some animals, that can be stronger than us, like elephants or lions or whatever. But to be smarter than us, this is something new. So that we have a machine that can think and can take decisions on behalf of the human being. So how would the bioethical field or the field of bioethics look like when we have machines sitting between the patient and the physician? And if the physician made a decision and this decision was not good and was not for the best interest of the patient, who will be liable, who will be accountable, not only before a judge or a court, but also before God, this religious accountability. These are the types of questions that I hope I'll get busy with during the coming years, inshallah.